G'day bushcrafters, survivalists and preppers. Today I'm going to look at some other things that we might miss in a survival situation, and we certainly could use this one in a bushcraft situation, to be honest with you, especially if we're going for a long trip. But anyway, today I'm going to look at making your own yeast. You know, we can carry flour, we can flatbread it, we can bannock, bannock, we can do all sorts of things with straight flour or ground up seeds, ground up dried, whatever. But to get a dough that rises from scratch, we need yeast. And we don't think about it, where it came from. We often miss traditional ways of doing things. So today we're going to actually make our own yeast. So let's go down and see what we can find. Anyway, down looking at yeast. How do we make it? Well, I need something to stir. Put that in my pocket. I need something to measure, which I've nicked out of the kitchen. Doesn't really matter. And a container I can leave a loose lid on. Jar, whatever. What I'm going to use this yeast, by the way, is all around us. It's here, getting in here now. So I need to culture it. I'm not making yeast, I'm culturing yeast. So what I'm going to do with this one, you can use any ingredient to start with, but I'm using flour and water. That's probably one of the most readily available things. We can also use fruit, dried raisins. We can culture with most things. We're just gathering the yeast into what we're culturing, but we don't want other bacteria to get in because it'll turn to mold, which hopefully we won't have. But if you find mold on top instead of that lovely smell of yeast, then you got a problem. Ditch it, start again. But anyway, what I'm going to do, I've measured in here 2 to 1 2 parts of the flour and 1 part of water. Purified water is better. Boiled, this is boiled, to kill any bacteria that might be in the water that might spoil your culture. So 2 to 1 ratio. That is usually the same way to flour is the same way to liquid, but 2 to 1. Just bear that in mind. So let's put them away. I'll put that in, as you can see. I just want to stir that up until a paste. I make a paste. So get me. Stir that in. I don't want it too wet. I just want it to culture. As you can see, it's gloopy, which is where I want it to be honest with you. Remember, boil your water, kill any bacteria in your water, because I just want what's in the air, yeast. Okay, so got rid of that. Now what I'm going to do with this is put the lid on loosely and leave it somewhere warm, stirring it once a day. And then we'll come back to it. Anyway, here we are back again at base camp. It's over a week later now, and my culture has gone from a nice smelly flour to a nice smelly yeast, and it's actually changed considerable in constituency. Okay, we've made yeast that we can put into our dough, and what we do is we take, I would normally make, I've done this as an experiment, I would normally make a larger quantity of this, a bigger jar, so that I can mix this in with the dough and knead it in to the dough and then prove the dough as we normally make bread. But if I look after this and keep it going, I'll always have yeast. Now what I would do with this, I'd take a bit out, use a bit, and then I'd add some flour and water. Remember, 2 to 1, same ratio. Mix it up again and let it just keep it cultured. Keep it. Even take some out, put it into another jar, put it into your friend's jar, whatever. That's really bread yeast. How to make it. I'm going to put the top on that because I don't want anything in there. That's going very, very well. And I don't know, I just like that smell. Anyway, say I wanted to make wine. Well, this really would cloud the wine. How I'd make wine, and I'll do it for you. I would take probably in the wild blackberries or a fruit of some description, because that will enhance whatever you put in to make yeast with, will enhance the flavour of whatever you're making. So if I made it with oranges, I would top up just above the fruit with water, boiled water. Remember, it's got to be distilled or boiled. It's got to be pure water with no bacteria in it, otherwise you'll culture that bacteria. Then I would put the lid on tight with a fruit yeast until it started to bubble, because yeast farts, for want of a better word, and eventually yeast will turn sugar into alcohol to about 15% proof, and then it'll kill itself. The alcohol will kill it. But anyway, let's keep on the track. I would make a fruit based yeast, let it bubble and then to let the pressure out of that, as you were making wine, I'd let that go enough on whatever jar I'm using to let the carbon dioxide come out. Correct me if I'm wrong with that, but not let anything go in. You know, you could use a demijohn. You know, it's effectively culturing the yeast from nothing. But then again, we could add that liquid to our wine. We could mash up 6 pounds of blackberry, and we could add that to it, and there should be enough in that mash to get it all making wine. But anyway, I'll do that as a separate thing. That's yeast for today, so not bad, eh? Anyway, that's Pete. That's Survival and Bushcraft. Another one in the bag to help us out in an SHTF situation. It's about gaining life back, whatever environment you're in. You could be in hospital and somehow you got to get your life back. You could be ill. God forbid any of you are ill. Excuse me, still got the reminiscence of a cold. But any environment we're in, we've got to adapt to. Even in general life, when we start a new job, we've got to adapt to it. But that one just helps us get back on track. We can have bread as long as we can find and grind something up to make it with. Anyway, as I say, this is Peter, Survival and Bushcraft. Hope you'll come again. Hope I'll see you soon. Please don't forget to subscribe.